I'm back. What's up, guys? How are we doing? It's good to be back, and to make it even better, this video will be teaching you how to play Kha'Zix in Season 13. So Kha'Zix is actually in a pretty decent spot, I'd say, because of recent champion nerfs and changes to the jungle. It all just makes Kha's life a little easier, and I know a lot of people are struggling, so I thought I'd share my very consistent way of piloting Kha'Zix in this season. We'll be going over everything you need to know, so do not worry, but for now, let's just hop into the game. Alright, here we go, let's get straight into it. Alright, first things first, the runes. You might notice that they're on the bottom left of the screen on my HUD, but the runes are First Strike, Magical Footwear, Futures Market, Cosmic Insight with Eyeball, and Ingenious Hunter. You can also run Treasure Hunter, but this is just the page I really like and would 100% recommend. Now, the first thing we do in this game is we drop a ward on the raptors. This is something that is very good to do because it gives you good information in the early game so that you know where the enemy jungler is going to be. And the good thing about this was that I actually spotted the Talon right as I was going to place the ward, so we automatically know he's going to be starting in the top side on his red. So it's very important to do this, or to at least try and get some information with your ward early game, because that'll let your team know where the enemy jungler is, and that decreases the chance of them dying to a gank. And yeah, that's very important. Now we also need to be pinging out the enemy jungler. So we are going to be opening up with a full clear. This is the pretty much standard way to play Kha'Zix in the early game. You guys know I do this pretty much every game. And it's very, very important to be doing this for Kha'Zix because he's not really strong that early, as contrary to what a lot of people think. And there we go, there's our ward coming into effect there. We can spot the talent on the raptors, and now we know that we're actually clearing a little faster than him. We're already on our raptors, which is our fourth camp, and he's walking towards his fourth. Now we're just going to keep clearing, and we're going to constantly be keeping in mind where the talent is during his clear. Even though we can't see him on the map, we know that he's around his wolves and probably moving on to his blue now. A bit of a fight is breaking out in the bot lane. Unfortunately, the Cassio, which is my bot lane, is not going to get the kill, and this is looking pretty damn juicy for me. So we're going to not do our Krugs here because I see a good opportunity. Whenever you see good opportunities like this, you want to go and take advantage of them, even if it means you know, delaying your full clear. But here we go, here's the Soraka. We don't know if they burnt sums or not, but yep, sure enough, she does not burn flash. And I'm going to use my leap to burn her flash and then follow her with my own flash, and we're going to pick up the first kill of the game. Generally, you want to hold your leap when you're ganking. That's really, really important. Notice that I only leaped once I realized that I could not walk up to her in order to gap clears. So I was forced to use my leap there, but that's fine. We do pick up the kill, and now we are going to retreat to our Krugs and try finish our clear. We're not going to worry about the crab because, again, like, the talent is bot lane. We managed to get to the bot lane in time before him, and because we know that we cleared faster than him, we're able to take that play really, really comfortably. Also get the level 4, very, very juicy. Keep in mind that I'm being very cautious here as I do the Krugs because I know the talent is around in the bot lane, but now we can just assume that he was on the crab and has taken that and is probably like around his Gromp or is recalling right now, just like I am. So yeah, now with the first recall we managed to pick up a Serrated Dirk, which is enormous. Our first item will be Eclipse. Eclipse is, in my opinion, the greatest item to run in this meta, and it's just pretty much the go-to for Kha'Zix at this point. Excuse me. Now we're going to walk up topside here because I see a good chance to go for a gank. This guy is kind of overextending. I feel like he should kind of know I'm here, but again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to walk up, try hold our leap. He has bone plating, so this is really awkward for me. I get stunned pretty hard. I'm trying not to use my leap here. He does flash, and then I use my leap. Unfortunately, I'm just out of auto range, and he's gonna live just barely.
Come on,
the
man.
bone plating doing wonders for him there. He also has Bramble Vest, so he's pretty tanky. And we're not very strong just yet. Okay, now here, with the failed gank and us dropping very low, I have to be extra careful here because we know the Talon has resetted topside, just like I have done. And sure enough, here he is. Thankfully, he misses his W, and I just narrowly managed to jump out and get away. Now, this is pretty much all because I'm expecting the Talon to be here. I even got a little bit greedy there and decided to try and walk in just in case he wasn't there to try and get my camps. But sure enough, he was, but I was ready for it and I'm able to jump out. This is just one basic thing that you always need to be careful of. It's knowing at all times what's a threat to you. You know, like, even if you're just low in the jungle, you know, you might think you're safe, but so long as you realize like what the enemy jungler is doing, like that, you can prevent them from catching you off guard. And yeah, that's just the way you should be playing. Just being extra careful about everything that could potentially be a threat to you. So that's a bit of a delay. I didn't actually get anything from the top side, so that kind of sucks for me. But again, it's much better than just dying. So we're just gonna reset and pretty much continue what our initial plan was, which was to go topside and clear down from there. We want to make sure we're prioritizing our farm because that is pretty much essential to Kha'Zix early game. We want to make sure we're progressing safely towards level 6 because, level 6 Kha'Zix is just significantly better compared to, pre-6 Kha'Zix because you get your evolution and that's just very, very juicy. So I'm going to constantly clear, and in the meantime, as you're clearing, right, you want to make sure you're looking at your lanes and seeing what you could potentially go for. In this case, I'm going, like, there's nothing up, really, but my bot lane decides to get a good ward off in the bot side, so there he is, we can see the Talon, and now, I kind of shift my gameplay. I could just insta-recall here, and I guess that's what I am gonna do. Is it? Yeah, okay. So I could just go down bot and potentially counter-gank the Talon, who could potentially gank my bot lane, but I figured that my bot knows that the Talon's there, right? If they didn't drop that ward, maybe I go for a counter gank there because the Talon won't know, he's been spotted, or like, but instead I decide to recall, save my time, be as efficient as I can, and just hope my bot doesn't die to a very obvious Talon gank. But Talon is gonna get a little bit clever, and he's gonna jump over the dragon pit and try to get a gank that way. That's a pretty smart gank. It's well played from him. There's not really much I could have done to, foresee that. But thankfully, he's pretty weak, and my bot lane is going to live. And then, using this information, knowing the Talon's bot side, I'm going to go for the Herald. This is important. You want to make sure you're taking objectives on the map. When the opportunity arises, we know the Talon is bot side still. We saw him walk into the dragon pit just now on the minimap, if you're looking. And we can get this Herald very, very comfortably. Now for our first evolution, it's R-Evolve. R-Evolve is supreme in this meta and just makes Kha'Zix really, really strong, in my opinion. The lengthened invisibility, it's fantastic for ganking and fantastic for extended fights. And, skirmishing, very, very useful. And, I typically take it most games. You can go Q-Evolve first, there's always a place for that. If you want to farm and get stronger individually and have more dueling power. But for the most part, I think R-Evolve is slightly superior in a lot of cases. So enemy team's going to take the dragon, that's totally fine. If you know me, I don't give a shit about dragons early. Now, this is mainly just because they don't, like, the soul takes a very long time to actually get, and dragons by themselves aren't that valuable, aside from the, experience you get from them. So don't go out of your way to take them early game, especially as Kha'Zix, because you'll take them pretty slowly without a team, or until you have, some items and stuff. So in the meantime, after we take the Herald, I don't see any lanes available to gank. Mid is pretty hard. Top, we don't really deal too much damage yet, so can't really kill top. And so our default state is to just go and clear, right? Always make sure we're on top of our farm, and this way, if the Talon deviates from his path at all, we will out-farm him and, pretty much just be ahead of him. So Victor has a good ping here. We know the Talon's in topside, he's looking for a gank. I'm going to come along here because I see a good opportunity to do something. Victor is just walking away too far. He actually pushes the Vladimir back, and I'm like, you fucking donkey. So, What could have been a kill there is kind of ruined by my laner, because he walks up and forces the Vladimir back, when I could easily R-evolve into the lane and kill him there. But that's fine, it's whatever. And then I'm just waiting here. We see the Soraka here as well. Now here's a very good important tip. It's, you know, just a fucking patience is a virtue, right? I'm just going to sit here. I have nothing else to do really, aside from my Krugs, and we're going to wait to see if we can potentially kill this Vlad. However, my plans kind of change here, because we know the Soraka's here, and after she's done mid, she's obviously going to be walking back bot, right? Of course. So she walks out of lane, and I sit here and wait to pick her up, and we pick up our second kill just like that, very comfortably. And now Jinx is left all alone, and she's going to get dove. And overall, just poorly played by the enemy team.
Herself by saving the Vlad.
And, you know, that just completely skyrockets our lead out of the blue. So we got very good picks in this early game. Gonna pick up our Eclipse straight away, and as well as the Lucidity boots. You can go defensive boots if you want, you know, if you're versing more threatening high burst champs, but in this game I'm not really scared of anyone, so we're just going to go for the CDR boots, and you know, make sure we are, you know, casting our abilities more. Do spot the Talon here. I'm gonna see if I can do something here. I probably know he's, you know, doing something in the bush here. Yep, sure enough, he's here. Presses his R, so we're just gonna immediately back off. I don't want to even consider fighting him anymore, because after a Talon uses his ulti, he can burst you very hard. So we're just gonna disengage there. We also burn the Ornn ulti, and overall we're just being very, very careful. I'm also being extremely careful here because I know the Talon's still around, getting ready to leap out if I need to, but turns out it goes mid. So I'm gonna try and take the camps so I can at least get something out of this, you know, rotation on the map. And here I'm thinking, well, there's a chance the Talon could actually be taking my Raptors here. So let's see if he's there. There is a chance he's here, and if he is, then I'll kill him. I immediately flash when I spot him, and I'm going to pick up my third kill. He does not expect this because I dropped so low, but thankfully I managed to heal up a little bit because of my red buff. And yeah, I didn't actually use the Herald, so it's running out, and the perfect time to use this is now because mid is recalled and I just killed the jungler. So we're going to drop the Herald mid for ourselves and get a bunch of gold. Herald is really valuable in this way because it allows you to get a lot of gold in the early game to kind of push your lead, especially if you don't share it with your laners. That's going to be really, really good for you. But yeah, so now I got my R evolve up, and typically you want to try and make plays when your R is up, and then you can try and resort to farming once it's not up because you're, you know, significantly weaker. We see the Talon here, and this is the perfect chance for me to kind of go for a counter gank opportunity. So I'm just gonna wait and wait and wait in this bush here. Can't really go for a dive. My laners are a bit too damaged, and Kha'Zix is pretty bad at diving as well, so we're just gonna be patient. We spot the Talon. He's actually gonna try and go for this play, and it's kind of unfortunate because I can't really hit the Talon. He's just gonna press R, and we actually lose the 3v3, which is pretty tragic. There's a massive silence by the Soraka, and my bot lane just drops way too low, so that was just a bit unfortunate. I kind of thought we could do something, but my bot lane couldn't really respond to that because they got silenced, so tragic. I'm gonna look to see if I can get the Jinx here, because we see that the Soraka and the Talon have moved up topside towards the dragon, so that dragon's gonna go down, unless I know pretty much the speed in which Talon takes this. It's not that fast, and I see the blast going here, so I'm gonna look for a good opportunity. Hello, Q smite for bonus, well, not bonus damage, but Q smite will deal a pretty significant amount of instant burst so that you can steal objectives really, really easily. And that's exactly what we do there. We just blast cone over, Q smite, and then get out. So now we don't really need to worry about the enemy team getting too many dragons. We missed the W on the Krugs, as usual. You know, if you're not missing W on the mini Krugs, then what the fuck are you doing? You're that's just me making excuses, but yeah. So we recall after that. Very juicy. We got a dragon. No need to worry about dragons anymore, to be honest. And then we're instantly going to run up towards Herald, and we're also going to ping it. You want to make sure you ping what you're doing, because that will let your team know what you're doing, and that'll make it easier for them to follow up. Bot lane is going to go for a juicy pick on the Vlad. He's going to go down here, and that's perfect, right? So now we can pretty much get Herald for free, and there'll be no trouble at all in regards to getting it, because we've got the Rengar around, and my bot lane's here too. So overall, very, very comfortable game state. Notice how I have all my camps up, but I'm still prioritizing the Herald first. You want to make sure you do this. You know, just take advantage of the time you have to focus on the objectives first, and then once you've done that, you can, you know, you can start taking your farm a little bit. But yeah, you notice that prior to 6, obviously I was prioritizing the farm. That's just because we're really weak. But yeah, we pick up the Herald. See a good chance to drop it mid. Typically, I like focusing the mid tower. And this is mainly because it opens up the 2 jungles on the map. The 2 enemy jungles. So you're able to kind of walk up a bit further and get picks more easily. And I feel like it's just way easier to do with the mid tower gone compared to the side towers. But that's just me personally. But I think a lot of people would agree with me there. And now with everything done, right? We've got some downtime. Now is the time to go for some farm. And, you know, like realistically, what can the enemy team do here? Not too much. And even then, it doesn't matter because I have a focus with my farming here, and that's to get level 11. You want to make sure if you're close to 11, you want to try prioritize it. I noticed my raptors are gone, and I noticed that the Talon's in my jungle. I actually get the red buff, and I'm just going to instantly jump on him. He's so weak compared to me, because I've just farmed myself up like crazy, and he's going to be able to R out and jump away. So Talon's a bit annoying in that regard. He's a bit hard to kill, but it's totally fine. With the my Victor's done well to drop this Vlad really low. He's also used his pull. This is just a free kill, nothing much to say there. And we're going to, you know, continue to apply our pressure and just kind of walk up here. Notice how I have the blue pet, right? I didn't touch on the blue pet, but it's self-explanatory. It's just the best pet for Kha'Zix. Very good map mobility and, you know, assassination potential with the move speed. Very good. I'm looking for Jinx here, right? That's why I jumped over the wall. I'm just kind of looking for picks while I can, just to see if I can grab myself any bit of gold. I actually want to engage this because I know we're really strong and the bot lane is really immobile and weak. So I'm going to use my R-Evolve to engage here. I'm going to land a big W, get the slow off, and then I'm going to focus the Soraka here because I know that she can't... Well, we can't really kill anyone with the Soraka alive. So I caused enough damage to the point where the team separates, and I get some isolation damage on the Talon. And at that point, the Soraka is just in no position to actually heal anyone there aside from the Jinx, and then we pick up the Talon. We're not overcommitting, right? You notice how I use my leap defensively. So I use my leap to jump out instead of jump in. That's pretty important as well. Just make sure that we are always staying alive and able to re-engage if needed. A big mistake Kha'Zix players make is that they waste their leap aggressively, and then they don't have anything to use to actually escape. So yeah, honestly, like, holding a leap is just so crucial. And because of the way we played that fight, we're able to pick up 3 for 0 and just completely annihilate the enemy team. Okay, so for our second item, aside from boots, it's the Yumu's Ghostblade. Pretty standard. Yumu's is the iconic legendary item for Kha'Zix. It provides everything he needs, and it's just super juicy as a second item for assassinating, etc. There are different options for the second item, but I'll touch on that in a sec. I notice a pick here. Jinx is just walking up way too far, and you can notice that I'm just constantly looking for picks where I can, using my R-Evolve to get them, and that's just going to be our 6th kill of the game. Very, very nice. And here's the dragon coming up, so we're going to try and get that. Always focus on the objectives rather than just, you know, mindlessly full clearing in my jungle. We need to push our lead. Remember to do, you know, always push your lead. But yeah, as I was saying, the second item options, you can go Axiom Arc if you want your ulti to come up a bit more. It also gives a little more haste, which is pretty solid, in my opinion. And there's also Edge of Night if you need to survive a little bit, you know, in fights. Edge of Night will provide that safety so that you can engage, you know, more comfortably. Okay, now watch this, right? We spot the Talon in our jungle, and this is like, we want to hunt this guy down aggressively. Why? Because we have Baron coming up. So with the jungler dead, it's pretty much a free Baron. So we're trying to chase this guy down. Actually, I could, you know, cut him off a little bit better here, but I'm just spam pinging, you know. I'm just spam pinging this guy. You know, go, come on team, like, kill this guy. We've got him completely surrounded. Cassio is going to ignite him, and he's actually going to die to poison here. And immediately, as he dies, ping Baron, right? You want to push our lead. You want to make meaningful picks, and you want to, you know, just win the game because of that. Basically, because the Talon decided to try and farm my wolves, like, we kind of just win the game here. Like, enemy team can't do anything unless they get a lucky steal, and we're going to prevent that, right? Because we're going to Q smite for that enormous execute damage. That's what Kha'Zix is good at. Jinxstyle almost takes it, almost takes me out too, but thankfully we do manage to get it. And then we're going to immediately recall, buy our next item, which is going to be, excuse me, the Last Whisper. So we're going to be building into Herald's here. You can also create LDR, obviously, a great choice against high health enemies, in my opinion. Rengar's going to get engaged on here, but he's totally fine. Enemy team's just really, really weak at the moment. And now we've got the Baron buff, right? So what do we do with the Baron? Well, we pretty much just try and take down as many objectives as possible. And the best place to start would probably be the mid lane tower and the top lane tower, since we have it pushing already. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to walk up into the jungle and try and go for a pick, see what's what, see what we can do. Now I see Talon here. Going to look for an R engage here. I jump over the wall, miss my W, unlucky. He's going to get away, he's going to press R. Not really too much we can do there. Unfortunate, but again, this is what I kind of want to be doing. Just, you know, looking for picks as much as possible and inevitably just close out the game. And so long as we're playing safe and we're, you know, playing the fights properly, making sure we, you know, take it easy, avoid our death, don't throw, you know, do stupid shit, then we pretty much just win the game here. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So, see a good pick here. Big CC on the Vlad. Apply a W slow. How's it going, mate? Cue him. And I'm going to push into the base with that pick. And that's pretty much going to be the game, guys. I hope it was informative. I mean, this is pretty much just what I do in the early game to secure wins. It's what you should do. Pretty much the perfect way to play Kha'Zix. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Any questions, drop them in the comments. And I will see you guys next time. Catch you later.